Have you ever looked at someone and just wondered how they master literally anything they touch, while the rest of us just kind of dabble? Well, it turns out there's this ancient three-part Japanese framework for building a level of skills so deep it's almost scary. Okay, let's get into this. So let's just start with a really tough question, one that, let's be honest, probably hits close to home for a lot of us. Why is it so unbelievably hard to stick with something? Why do we start a dozen new things and end up mastering none of them, usually quitting right when it starts to get challenging? The answer is actually pretty simple, but it's also kind of brutal. It's because our whole culture has sold us this toxic lie. The idea that we should just skip the boring fundamentals, that we're too special to copy a master, that we can just find our own way from day one. And that single idea, that lie, is probably the biggest thing standing between you and real mastery. So to fight back against that lie, we have to start at the very beginning. We have to learn how to learn the right way. And for that, we're going to look at an ancient system that was used to create samurai warriors. It's called Shuhari. Now, the progression here is absolutely key. Shuhari is a three-stage path, and you cannot skip a stage. It all begins with Shu, which basically means obey and imitate. This first step is the death of the ego. Think about the story of Yamato, an aspiring samurai. He spent a year practicing all by himself, but all he did was burn his mistakes into his muscle memory. His master had to force him back into Shu, making him copy one single stance, one single breath, over and over, until his body finally got what his brain couldn't. So how long do you have to stay in that first stage, the imitation stage? Well, the answer is about this many times. 1,000 correct, obsessive repetitions of a single fundamental skill. Yamato was told to practice one basic sword strike 1,000 times a day. And yeah, it sounds incredibly boring, it sounds robotic, and that is exactly the point. And you know what? This isn't just some ancient philosophical idea. This is backed by modern neuroscience. What researchers have found is that after about 1,000 of these correct repetitions, something amazing happens in your brain. The skill literally moves out of your thinking, conscious mind and into your body's automatic system. You stop trying to do the skill, and the skill starts to do itself through you. And that, right there, is the entire goal of Shu. Okay, so you've got the foundation. But a foundation is pretty useless without an engine, right? For that, we turn to the Zen monks and their system for building what can only be described as frightening discipline. It's called Gyoji. The idea of Gyoji is just devastatingly simple. It means continuous practice, without a single gap. Think about this. At the Ihaiji temple, a bell has rung at 3:30 in the morning every single day since the year 1200. And every single day, the monks get up. The question of, should I get up today, doesn't even exist in their minds. Why? Because they've completely eliminated the mental negotiation that always leads to failure. And see, here's the absolute game changer. Your brain puts every commitment you make into one of two buckets. A reversible commitment, something like, I'll try to go to the gym, that just invites negotiation and excuses. But an irreversible one, that changes who you are. Take this guy Raphael, a programmer. He stopped trying to meditate. Instead, he made a public declaration. I am a person who meditates for 20 minutes every single day. By making it public, the pain of failure became way worse than the pain of just doing it. He made the commitment irreversible, and that killed a negotiation for good. All right, so we've got a foundation for learning and an engine for discipline. Now we need the final piece of the puzzle, a fortress for the mind. And for this, we have to look to Japan's most legendary swordsman, Miyamoto Musashi. Musashi's path to becoming invincible wasn't about adding more stuff. It was the total opposite. It was about taking things away, a path of elimination. He eliminated his need for perfect conditions, his reliance on a specific weapon, his emotional reaction to just feeling bad. Think of this engineer, Lucas. He built his strength by removing every single excuse. Traveling? Fine, push-ups in the hotel room. Feeling sick? Okay, 5 push-ups instead of 20, but never ever 0. He's systematically dismantled every possible reason he could fail. And this just perfectly illustrates the end goal, which Musashi called Foshin, or the unshaken mind. When Lucas's boss told him he was being laid off, he didn't panic. He just responded. Why? Because 105 straight days of flawless training had built incredibly deep roots. The storm came, but the tree was quiet. You see, true strength isn't about avoiding problems. It's about how deep your roots go. Okay, so we've covered Shuhari, Gyoji, and Musashi's way. How does this all come together into one single path that you can actually follow? It's really a powerful three-part system. Your foundation is Shuhari. Your action, imitate before you innovate. You have to earn the right to be creative. Your engine is Gyoji. Your action, end all negotiation. You make your commitment irreversible and just show up. And your fortress comes from Musashi. Your action, eliminate every single weakness, every excuse, every dependency, until you're left with nothing but strength. And here's maybe the most important thing to understand about all of this. This journey, it isn't about some small, incremental self-improvement. It's not about becoming a slightly better version of yourself. No, it is a total transformation. The person who has the patience to copy, the discipline to end negotiation, and the strength to eliminate every excuse, that's not you anymore. That is a fundamentally different person.
So look, at the end of the day, it really just comes down to this. This path isn't a secret. It's ancient, it's been tested for literally centuries, and we know it works. The question isn't whether the system is real. The only real question is, are you willing to pay the price that mastery demands?